church with the servant doctor, the trap pastor, y'all. Y'all don't know how long I've been working on this interview. I got to tell you, when Brother Atiba said that he got this confirmed for me, I was absolutely over the moon. Y'all, I done cooked. I made sure the baby's out. I said, this is the this is how I believe, we show the respect. I said that every time when you think of, okay, when you think of a big guest, and sometimes people are like, oh, I thought it would have been like, because they know my background, they know I was a booking agent, what type of networks I roll in. But I say no, the biggest guests to me are just people that I absolutely respect. And so I wanted to absolutely just show homage and pay the ultimate respect for the trap pastor cutting out the time of his day, this part of his day, to speak with us and speak to all of our network in Melanated People Land, melanatedpeople.net, in the Glow Sphere, in the Urban Country Films Network. I am so happy to be able to bring this guest to you all, because let me tell you, I've been following, I've been enjoying, I have been becoming inspired by the raw. Oh my gosh, your morning shows, they get me going. I'm just like, this is so raw and uncut. Like, this is what we need. We need to stop with, as Brother Shem said, y'all heard him loud and clear this past Wednesday. We've got to stop with the coddling. We've got to have some real conversations. We've got to come up with some real solutions, and they need to be executed. Yes, and I didn't say they need to be implemented, because I wanted to say something real strong. They need to be executed. We've got to execute these solutions, not just consider to continue to talk about them. So I feel like I'm talking too much. I know we have a limited time here, so I want to, without further ado, um, absolutely open up the screen and introduce the Reverend Doctor Pastor. Mm, Slaughter. So tell us a little bit about you and your background, Pastor.
Background: born in Memphis, Tennessee, raised um, in a family with a black pastor and a school teacher. My mama and my dad, had a kind of tumultuous relationship, and it was, a, and I think about uh, what happened to our family living in Memphis, Tennessee, in 1968, with my father being a Kingian person, pastor, or follower or a disciple of Dr. King. When Dr. King was murdered in Memphis, had a profound impact on my family. And my dad's alcoholism kind of went out of control, and we ended up moving across the river to a place called Blythesville, Arkansas. Blythesville, Arkansas was was and is in diametric opposition to Memphis, where it was particularly at that time. It was a place where um, it was the home of the National Cotton Picking Contest.
Wow.
Okay,
Wow.
so you juxtapose that against a city like Memphis, which black, proud. Black people were considered to even be arrogant in the presence of whites, because we were in the majority. We knew it. The neighborhood I grew up in, Orange Mound, the first intentionally African American neighborhood built in the South.
So kind of
You know,
like the Greenwood. And
mhm.
let's do this, because some of our people saying they cannot hear you. So we want to make sure, so they say they know this conversation is important and they want to be able to hear you loud and
Yeah, hear
clear.
what I need to talk louder.
Yes,
I
talk
need to
louder.
holler.
I'll let
I
you hear
holler.
me.
I
Or maybe
holler.
let's see if we can move this closer on this mic side.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
loud. You
but
got to
that's
be louder
fine.
now.
That's fine. So
And we got the
y'all let
couch of
us
love.
know
So
the love
let's
couch.
build the
Let's
couch.
get close.
Yeah,
So please let me know if you can hear. So he said to use your pastor voice. My producer said to use your pastor voice, the boom
all
mic.
right, brother.
Okay.
Hopefully you hear me better. But at any rate, I grew up in this. My early formative years in Memphis, Tennessee. Then we moved to this place called Blythesville, Arkansas, which was a backward kind of country town. And the move was profound. Once there, my father moved on, and myself and my mother and my brother, we were left in this little town, not related to anyone there, and so it was a interesting place to grow up. I ended up moving from there when I was 17. Went to the army, got out of the army, came back for a couple of months, and then moved to Raleigh, North Carolina. Went to Shaw University, where I got my first real taste of the academy. Um, and at that time, Raleigh, North Carolina, there was still a strong black population. Black businesses were around. It was still kind of throwbackish, even in the early '80s, right?
Okay.
It was still a lot of strong black businesses,
The
black people,
culture influence was
and
high.
it was
Absolutely.
very strong. And of course, SNCC was started
Yes.
at Shaw,
Okay.
so that legacy kind of hung
Of the
over,
civil rights
right?
movement. Yes.
And at that time, Shaw was like a poor black school because Jesse Helms, who at that time was a senator from North Carolina, did everything in his power to shut it down. He cut off all resources to the school. And Shaw University didn't even come back to life until, say, in the '90s, mid '90s, when Willie Gary, the famous attorney from Florida, right, donated like $100 million over a certain amount of years, and then became more interested in Shaw again. And Shaw is like a strong school again. But at any point, I went to Shaw and left Shaw after pledging my fraternity there, and I ended up Tuskegee. Tuskegee changed my whole life.
Now, what was your fraternity?
It is Omega Psi Phi.
So like Omega. Y'all see this
like
connection?
Omega, like Courtney Omega.
That is actually my name, and didn't realize that. I wasn't saying that just to get him to say it. That's a divine connection. No, I didn't know.
I agree. But
yeah.
Tuskegee turned me all the way out.
It's check out of my purple.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. When I got to Tuskegee, I discovered the mayor was black, the police chief was black, the fire chief was black, the man who owned the grocery store was black, the person who owned the Wendy's was black, the school president was black. Everybody that was in power, everybody that had any measure of control and who had the ability to make decisions was black. That was transformative for me. And I was like, I tried to stay there for the rest of my life. It was just a 4-year degree. Hell, I stayed there. I don't know. Hell.
That's what Atlanta is like for me. Because I'm not from here, but I tell people all the time. I would tell people all the time when I was coming from Philadelphia or just whatever, Texas, Virginia. I said if you blindfolded me, I would know when I was in Atlanta. The energy feels different. It feels like it feels alive. It feels cultured, and then of course because immediately the energy from the people is different.
Because since the 70s, black people been shot calling in Atlanta.
Come on.
So it's the place
where airport is named after a black man. The biggest properties are black people. That's amazing.
And as for us, I'm going to tell you, because my wife and I, we lived in Chicago. We got married in Chicago. And at that point, it was the throwback because black people from Arkansas would move to Chicago because that's where that was like Chicago was the black Mecca at one time, right? So we moved there, and by that time, some of the luster was kind of falling off Chi-Town City. And what I really wanted to do, what we decided as a family to do, we said we wanted to raise our children in a space where they could have, we didn't have to worry about it, wonder about it. They would have all black teachers. Yeah. I did not want my children to be exposed to white power in that way. Yes. In their formative years. I wanted them to be able to receive the nurture and the love from black people who loved them, right? And also, I wanted, we made the decision to sacrifice, being able to purchase some of the things that we wanted to purchase. What we did was purchase education from black institutions institutions of learning.
Yes.
You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Because
So
one of the
true.
things that people don't pay attention to is that schools, black schools, are black businesses, right? And when you expose your children to white ideas and white ideology, and you allow your children who are generally out of your care and out of your sight for 8 hours a day,
9 hours a
they
day,
spend
yeah.
more time with somebody else than they spend with you.
And they become indoctrinated in that other infrastructure.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So I want to spare my children that. So moving to Atlanta
Right.
made more sense.
Yeah.
And once I got here, the city, embraced us. The city embraced me. I came to Atlanta, man, and I started pastoring a small church in Northwest Atlanta, right off Bankhead.
Okay.
And I was, trap pastoring over there because we was like right.
Now let's talk about that. Why do you call yourself the trap pastor? I love it.
Do you see where this church is located?
I do. You all, we're going to be able to, in the description or we'll be able to drop the link to the church, so you'll be able to see the area. I tell you, you know what was funny when we turned the corner coming off, the highway. My son said, "Mom, this is like Overtown." I said, yeah. I said, this a little different, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
But
no
it's a
palm
little
trees,
different,
but
right? No, but the people and
Yeah.
how everybody is kind of out and enjoying themselves.
And this belongs to us.
Yeah.
Even though the gentrifiers and the colonizers attempted to come in to this community, this is the Pittsburgh community. This is the oldest suburb, the oldest black suburb of Atlanta.
Wow.
Okay,
Wow.
and so the difference between this neighborhood and other neighborhoods in Atlanta is that this neighborhood was never white.
Oh,
it was never white. It was always black.
us.
The people who owned the land were always black. So white folks got to work a little harder to wrest us out of this space. And when we were looking for a place to plant the church, this building came open. And I tell people this all the time. We were sitting in this room. We had like 35 grand, right? We were looking for a place to be. This is 6 years ago in Atlanta. And we came to this building. The realtor brought us in. While we were sitting here, the price of the building dropped 50 grand while we were sitting here.
Wow.
Okay, literally.
Wow.
And after that occurred, then there was two people that was a part of maybe the 11 or 12 people that were here said, okay, we'll give you the other 40 grand you need in order to purchase the building. And we bought the building outright. Of course, we paid them back over the next couple of years. But that's how we got into the space. And then the work began to gain the trust of the people who already were present in the community. And so that's when, one of the things that I constantly have to talk to my members about and members of the beloved community is you got to respect the people. We drive in. I don't give a damn about the people who drive in. I give a damn about the people who walk here. This is their community. And you can't come in knowing everything, knowing more, and because you might contribute more, thinking that your contribution is worth or that is meant. Yeah, I would much prefer somebody who live in an abandoned house come in and say, "Man, you made me feel at home." That's worth more to me than anything. And there's some good people who just struggling and suffering in this city. And I was just the other day. Matter of fact, yesterday, perfect example. Yesterday, so my wife comes. We had to have some business yesterday, so she comes back to the church because she said this sister said that she needed a box of food. Right, sister got quite a few children, 6, 7 children, literally 6 or 7 children, maybe 8, ranging in age from like 15, 16 to like 2, right? So she's like, so I'm gonna take this mama some food. So she gets here, and one of the brothers that takes advantage of our food sharing, which we do, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We share from 12 to 3, lunch and dinner, and we'll give people a lunch meal and a dinner meal, to
Mhm.
take with them. And we feed between 60 and 100 people
Monday,
every day,
Wednesday,
Monday, Wednesday,
Fridays.
and Friday. Okay,
Beautiful.
children started out as a response to COVID-19,
Mhm.
making sure that the children had food,
Absolutely.
And but at any rate, so my wife got here. She calls me. She said, "Okay, there's a dude out here. He's talking about 3 or 4 different people, and ain't nobody out there but him." And I'm a little bit afraid,
Wow.
right? I'm like, "Okay, I know that brother." I said, "Is anybody else around?" She's like, "Well, the dude that lives across the street." I said, standing on the porch. I said, "Call him, tell him to come over and talk to the brother while you make up the food boxes and make
Yeah.
it happen."
Yeah.
That's the perfect example.
Of when you know your community and when your community has you. Yeah, there's nothing that you can put a value on when it comes to things like that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So even when I feel like I can't make it, like I can't do it no more, like I'm tired, you know what I'm saying? Uh, those kinds of things happen daily to remind me of why we're doing the work,
Of course.
why we're here, and I'm just thankful that the Pittsburgh community accepted us and has allowed us to be a part of the community.
I love the picture that you paint with that of
Mm-hmm.
not just coming into the community because this is the dash too. When we're going to talk about how we're up against as believers,
Mm-hmm.
we're always finding ourselves in those very tense conversations about how churches are just businesses too, and
Churches are black businesses.
they
Black churches
are
are black
black
businesses.
businesses. So how do you navigate those discussions when we're talking about the significance
Mm-hmm.
of the black church, the necessity when you're talking about black churches in the heart of our communities, and we're talking about setting or leading uh, forward thinking, moving us ahead because a lot of times, when we get into these theological conversations, so to speak, um, we're told to kind of we're being labeled, not even we're being told, but we, and I say we as in believers, we're
Mm-hmm.
being labeled as passive, as we, as conditioned. And
Mm-hmm.
I say, I don't feel like, even when I'm talking to my children about it, I am never taking us being weak in
Right.
anything, and I
Mm-hmm.
take exact scriptures from the Bible. And I say, whenever anybody wants to talk to me about the Bible being a place of weakness, I go to Kings 1 and Kings 2. Because I said that thing is like 300 gladiator and anything else you want to,
You forget, man.
heads roll, people
You don't
decapitated,
get two.
know.
You don't get 2 chapters before you
Hey,
get your first murder.
mm,
Second chapter.
with Cain.
Yeah.
Yes,
Second chapter. First
yes,
murder.
yes,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
So what to answer to speak to your question,
right.
what I do
Yeah, how do we
is I try to
navigate that?
I
Right.
try to be
We're not weak, y'all.
I try to be
Be
honest
strong in that
and
faith.
and authentic about it. Be a believer. Okay, I'm a believer, but I don't believe what white folks believe. I don't believe
Mm,
what white folks believe about God. I don't believe what white folks believe about Jesus.
come
I don't
on,
believe what white folks believe about the Holy Ghost. I
say
don't
this.
believe what white folks believe about morality. I don't believe what white folks believe about ethics. I don't believe what white people believe. Do you
Mm,
see? Because and I believe that white people are our enemy, and I believe that there is no red suited dude,
come on,
right, with horns and a tail in a red leather. I
come on,
don't believe that, and
come
so I don't teach that. I
on,
don't talk like that. You know what I'm saying?
come on.
I'm saying look at white folks got us in such a bad situation that we're afraid to say that they doing what they do to us. You know what I'm saying?
I hope if y'all didn't hear nothing else this whole broadcast, I hope y'all heard that. We are afraid to even call that out to their face. A lot of I say y'all, I ain't even gonna say us because I ain't. I'm not. I'm not. But let's talk about that for a second. How do we get the same people? And this was a struggle of mine personally because I was elected member of a council in Coconut Grove, Miami, Florida, and it's it was very difficult for me to mobilize a community uh, because they're so conditioned to they got to go to work, got to go to school. Prime example: Malcolm X's birthday just passed. I'm a part of an international movement or campaign to get Malcolm X's birthday declared an international day of observance.
Okay.
No one else in our history, not even Jesus Christ himself, has this.
International
Right. They
recognized.
don't.
Yeah.
But Malcolm X is as a as a impactful, significant person in the raising the